It's you and me.
Let's go!
The white-haired girl, having finally gathered the courage, began to slowly tell her tale.
Finally! I get to learn! On the night of the storm, I paid a visit to Rose Manor, this mansion. My father and I were always on the move, traveling across the land by foot, so it was only recently that we heard rumors of Rose Manor. There are several reasons we couldn't stay in one place. First is my unusual appearance. People often find the color of my skin and eyes disconcerting. So, after living in one place for long enough, unsettling rumors would begin to spread, forcing us to leave. Another reason was my father's line of work. He painted pictures for a living, but he had trouble finding a patron, so he had to work day to day. When he was no longer able to find work in the city, we would have to move. We were birds that migrated without a flock. When we arrived at this town, my father was exhausted and weak. That is when we learned of Rose Manor, and the family who dwelled within it. Rhodes is the name my father could never forget. He was long ago a painter in service of the Rhodes family.
Hold on. Your father was an artist here?
Yes? It was before I was born, so you probably don't remember Lord Mel.
So, you know about us before you came here?
For as long as I can remember, I've known the name Rhodes. My father was chased from your house, just because they didn't like something he painted.
Was it crude?
Having failed the Rhodes family, no one else would become his patron. Just as a good reputation spreads, so too does a bad one. Branded once as a failure, no one will take you ever again. You nobles throw your parties and spread your gossip about the painter or that sculptor. The rose you tried to give me is an example of that. It was certainly crafted with skill, but the jeweler is only known because some aristocrats spoke highly of him. My father's paintings were no less skillful. His was a talent that could not easily be imitated, but no one was willing to separate the art from the artist. The Rhodes family stole everything from my father, but even thrown out onto the streets, his only skill was painting. That was all he could do to earn a living. What little money we had for food he gave to me. He did anything he could to ensure my survival, even at the expense of his own well-being. My father passed away in this town. Oh, that's so sad. Up until his last breath, he was only ever concerned about me. He held me in his arms and ran his fingers through my hair, an apologetic look on his face. If I had a normal appearance, I'm sure life would have been much easier. He was always telling me how sorry he was for making life so hard, even though it's not his fault I look like this. I disdained the Rhodes family for putting my father through such hardship. I imagine you were still living in decadence, acting as though nothing had ever happened. No, you wouldn't even care about the fate of one simple painter. Our lives meant nothing to you. And so, I sought to bring misfortune upon you.
And that's why you tried to kill me.
In truth, I had wanted to take the master's life, but your father spends so much time outside the mansion, and so...
You're right. If they lost me, they would put my family in a very difficult position.
That is the whole of my tale. You now know about my father and how I feel about you. Having Having told you my blackness in my heart, I cannot go on living like nothing has changed. Please give me punishment.
Why? Why would you have me put the one I love through any more misery?
I'm not fit for your affection. Not only because I am not aristocratic, but because every time I spoke with you, I did so holding this darkness in my heart. Does that not unnerve you?
In the end, it was my family's actions that caused you so much suffering. Would that your father were still alive, perhaps I could have done something. I'm sorry. And besides, you hesitated. You didn't actually kill me. What am I to even punish you for? As you said, you had countless opportunities, but you cannot bring yourself to do it. Tell me, why couldn't you kill me?
Because
If it's because I've given you enough reason to have even the slightest bit of interest in me.
Nothing was as I envisioned it.
What?
I assumed the residents of Rose Manor would be cold, people who believed that wealth and rank mattered above all. But on the night of the storm, the mistress was the first one to extend her hand to me. I arrived at the mansion disguised as a beggar. Actually, disguised is not the right word, as many nights I only survived on the generosity of others. The mistress did not send me away when she saw me. Quite the opposite. She took me in as a servant.
So that was Mother's doing.
I could scarcely believe she would invite a stranger into her home, that she would treat a stranger with such compassion. I thought perhaps she knew who my father was. But I had never met any of you before, so she must simply be that kind-hearted a woman. And the mistress continued to treat me with kindness despite my disquieting appearance and the darkness in my heart. In time, I began to grow less and less sure of myself. Was what I meant to do truly right? Were the things I felt truly justified? But it was a certain fact that my father was here and that he had been chased out. So I decided I should take your life, to put an end to everything before I wavered any further. And then...
And then?
You were too kind to me. It's all your fault. Because you laugh with such affection. Because you give me smiles like that. Because you say the things you say. I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. I'm so happy to hear that, despite the unusual circumstances. Please, don't say you want to leave. Don't ask me to punish you. I couldn't do anything for your father, but at least allow me to do something for the daughter he cared for so dearly.
You are far too kind-hearted.
I'll be happier with you around. You can become a real aristocrat.
I'll be a real boy. Huh?
There are families that would be willing to adopt you, especially knowing it would bring them ties to the Rhodes family in the near future. Dude, this guy is like got his chest piece all laid out.
Yeah. Are you saying,
As long as you're okay with that, of course.
I don't understand how you could possibly say that. I have my hand around your neck even as you speak.
It seems reasonable enough to me.
Yeah?
I'm desperately looking for some way to not have to lose you.
But I couldn't. I don't know any etiquette or social customs. How could I?
You can learn all of that. You're pretty and naturally graceful. You'll do just fine.
are such an aristocrat, Lord Mel. The way you come up with compliments so easily.
Only for you. Nellie says my poetry has as much charm as a dissertation. I don't understand theater. It puts me to sleep. You laughed, thank goodness. Keep smiling. I can't with this boy. I love it. Keep smiling. You don't have to stop. A smile on your face is a smile on mine.
Aww.
My boy! No matter how deep the darkness has taken root in your heart, it can always be removed. I believe people are capable of forging their own futures. What do you say we go to... Oh, I love him. What do you say we go to the theater sometime? I promise I won't sleep through it. At the private theater, we can get second seats at the far end of the second floor, so we don't have to stand. They would be pretty lavish seats, and it would give you a chance to experience the noble life.
But...
Please don't be shy. I can have clothes prepared for you. I'll ask one of the maids who can keep a secret. Say the one with the black hair. She kind of scares me, though.
I don't know what I'm supposed to say. How could you show such compassion for me? I tried to inflict harm upon you. Am I allowed to feel such joy?
For every day you suffered, a day of happiness. That's how it has to be. So stand by my side. Wait, but when did they get that? And why don't we get her name?
Why do you know Mel, but we don't know her name?
Mel!
You're keeping secrets now from us.
He softly whispered the girl's name. See, now I'm just sad because, like, things aren't gonna be happy, and, like, I want them to be happy.
Why do you say things aren't gonna be happy? Because she can't let go of it?
Well, no, I mean, like, isn't the whole thing with this game, like, ooh, there's something going on?
Yeah.
Like, and plus, we're with the maid looking at the past, seeing what the house saw, so it's like, well, For several long moments, her lips trembled in trepidation, but in time, she squeezed them together and made a smile. He wrapped his arms around her unbelievably slender, frail frame, holding her tight in an affectionate embrace.
Oh, and?
Mel approached me the next day.
Oh, I got really scared who me was. I don't know why.
He explained to me the course of events, and then asked me to dress her up more beautifully than any other noble girl had ever been. She was already a very pretty girl, so even without much effort, on my part, simply putting her in a dress, she radiated beauty. I was quite partial to her smile, so I agreed to help, thinking that if it would lead to their happiness, I could not ask for anything more.
This seems really sketchy.
In the beginning, she was all like, oh, you can't blah blah blah. No, I'm already in distress. I never anticipated what would happen next, though. I'm quaking. Perhaps my hopes were unreasonable after all.
What happened?
I'm not crying.
Why are
dude.
we walking away? Why are we walking? Why is there walking?
Oh.
Where is the...
Are we still holding her hand?
They were cuddling in a bed.
No. Us or the person in the
Oh,
maid.
yeah, probably. I imagine you were still... okay, I start over. You wouldn't even care. I feel like wouldn't could have had more... blah, blah, blah. I arrived at the mansion distinguished as a beggar. Egger.
Disguised.
Disguised, distinguished. Hello, other way around.
Nellie says my poetry has so much. Oh. For several long moments. For several. Yeah. You like jazz?
Yeah, jazz is pretty cool. It gets your hips swaying.
Yeah. For several long moments, her lips trembled with trepidation.
But in. You said with. Why did you say with? Who
I
are
don't know, I
you?
don't
There's
know.
no with on the page.
He wrapped his arms around her, unbelievably slender. He wrapped his arms around her unbelievably slender, frail frame, holding her tight in an affectionate embrace. Holding her tight in an affectionate. Oh my! You see my issue?
Yeah, it's that
It's the double
alliteration.
A's. Oh, alliteration. Yes, yes.